Greetings, variants from across the multiverse. This is Geekverse Reactions. My name is DJ Foster. I am joined with my good friend Caleb Keller, as always, for the greatness that sits behind just what is the multiverse of incredible geeky things. You Mr. Mando Talk, Caleb Keller. How are you today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm excited for this Marvel heavy discussion that we're gonna have on this week's edition of GVR. I mean, we got a few news pieces that we're gonna discuss, some rumors, some leaks. It's a heavy time going on right now. If I'm being completely honest, internet has been crazy this week.
Yes,
crazy.
Even just in the last few hours, it's exploding with all kinds of insanity. I mean, and that's typical, but.
Yeah, so that's sorry. There's great.
No, you're
things
good, man.
There's great things to talk about tonight. I mean, some really great things to talk about, and we finally get to spoiler discuss Marvel's Eternals. And I talked about how that was my most anticipated Marvel film of the year, and we're gonna maybe discuss some things and go back and forward, maybe have some different takes on some things. I'm sure we're going to, but I look forward to getting to that. But we do have some news pieces, and DJ is going to, lead the way as far as those news pieces go. He did a great job researching the news for this week, and we are going to focus on Marvel specifically. So unless there's anything else that you would like to say, DJ, I mean, I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm ready to go. In fact, let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
Absolutely.
Starting off with some rumors. Let's just go straight to the rumors because, as Adele once said, rumor has it. And as rumor has it, and by the way, this rumor comes to us through one of our Discord members, Mr. Parker K16, on the lookout for us. Appreciate him,
you, Parker.
Just dropping some good knowledge, potential, rumor. I mean, not potential rumor. It is a rumor. Potential fact coming down the line somewhere.
There you go.
Well, it's Black Panther. Black Panther 2 has been one of these things that people
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, man. Dude, throw up the X. Like Des Bryant used to do for the Cowboys. Anyway, don't talk about my Cowboys. No, but anyway, Black Panther 2 is being, I don't know, it's probably in pre-production right now. I have no idea if it started to film yet. I don't think it has.
I want to say it's actually in production.
Oh, okay.
Because I see in the past week, I saw a report that it was being halted because I don't remember her name, actress of Black Panther's sister. Can't remember her name.
Her character's name is Shuri.
Yes. Something happened to where she can't shoot right now, and so production has been paused for right now. Got it. But anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to inform the listeners, I do think that is in production.
Well, that's good to know. And I actually didn't even know that. I somehow missed that while perusing the interweb the other day to prepare our show notes. But either way, the Cosmic Circus, and we've reported stuff from them before it's very rumor heavy side, but they're reporting that T'Challa, and this is a direct quote from the Cosmic Circus, T'Challa's legacy will continue in and beyond through T'Challa's son with Nakia. Now, if you remember just Black Panther in general, that is Lupita Nyong'o's character, Nakia. Of course, their love interest I thought was done, very well in that story. I was really, as far as love stories go, I felt personally involved, and I think that says a lot because I really don't care too much about love stories, if I'm being real honest. But they're good. That's okay every now and then. But he goes on to say in this article, we shouldn't expect T'Challa and Nakia's son to take over the mantle of Black Panther just yet in the next film. And that's all we chose to quote from that article tonight. First of all, Caleb, how do you feel about this being a potential way to carry on the Black Panther legacy without Chadwick Boseman?
I mean, for me, I certainly kind of like the idea. I like the idea of it not being taking it over initially. I like that they would want to build it up. And I'm a sucker for the father-son kind of storytelling. And I think that's very evident with me loving Star Wars the way that I do. Sure. So I'm all for it. I mean, unfortunately, it's definitely not as cool as having Chadwick continue to play Black Panther. I absolutely loved and adored his portrayal of T'Challa. Absolutely wonderful from every single work that I saw him in, even in recently in What If, the voice of T'Challa.
Yes.
It was great to have Chadwick.
Incredible in What If.
But I like this idea of incorporating it and making it more so like a family story, which again, I'm a sucker for. I think it would be great. What do you think?
Well, when you look at the story of Black Panther, even going back to Civil War, we saw King T'Chaka die, pass that mantle on to T'Challa.
Yep.
And now, by way of necessity, which is very unfortunate, we pass the mantle potentially onto his son. That would mean that there was possibly a wedding off screen that we never got to see. And of course, you know, them having a son, which is a big deal. And he's probably young, and they can fast forward in time and all that fun stuff and get us to where we're at now as far as where we're going to be with Wakanda Forever. And I really think that the name kind of warrants the potential for something like this to continue on as far as it goes with having his son come in and continue on that legacy until that character is old enough or they feel like the story has progressed far enough. You know, I'm still curious about who they may have fill in that Black Panther role. I've been thinking Shuri would be perfect for that.
Right.
Sister, just why not? She's there. She's available. She's young. Let's use her.
Well, and that kind of goes to your next question here in the notes of where you're saying of where we're asking, you know, did we expect something else to happen as far as other characters in the world that we've come to know to take on that mantle? And that's kind of where I fall is I was kind of hoping to see Shuri take up that in this next installment. Who knows, though, if that's going to be a thing. I really don't even know personally because I'm not somebody big into the comics, if that is comic book accurate. But I certainly think it could. I mean, she has played an integral part as far as T'Challa becoming Black Panther himself. So it would only make sense for her to be involved with taking up that role now that, unfortunately, Chadwick can't be there to do it. So
I think if they had never intended to have a plan similar to that, you know, we could have done like a whole Black Panther family type of thing, and eventually Shuri maybe. There was a way for a bunch of people to be multiple Black Panthers. I mean, who knows what they could have come up with? And we already know that Marvel Studios is willing to kind of go off script from the comics, so it's not too far from reality potentially. Well, I think so. That's our Black Panther news. And by the way, I know Caleb, you said this at the top, but I just want to reiterate it. This is an MCU show tonight. Yeah. It just with Eternals and then Spider-Man coming out next month, it just made sense to stick with Marvel for tonight. And speaking of Spider-Man, we have some fantastic information that has 100% broke the internet. I mean, it is just constantly trending. It's trending even now. Spider-Man, but the official Spider-Man No Way Home poster was finally released, and I saw it first on Twitter. There's a real good chance they got in that, you know, Facebook business, whatever app, and just blasted it everywhere all at once. But the Twitter account that I first saw it from was the official, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home account tweeting that image. And that poster is really not bad. I personally think that a lot of the fan posters we've been seeing over this last several months are better. But this one tells you what we kind of already know based on the the trailer that was released a few weeks ago. So as far as that goes, you know, I'm going to break down the poster really quick. What we have in the center of it is Peter, the one we know, Tom Holland in this universe. He is there in the Iron Spider suit. The only real difference in this suit is it appears he has some gauntlets on his arm. That's a little different. I think that's a callback to an old Electro comic where he is got to insulate his webs so that he can actually tie up Electro. That was briefly mentioned in the Spider-Man video game that came out a couple years ago in 2018. So that's why I come up with that theory. But we've got nods to Doc Ock, obviously. Green Goblin is just this tiny little speck way in the background. And it's kind of like you zoom in on it and you don't even really need to zoom in on it to see that it's clearly the Green Goblin. But it's nice to see that Willem Dafoe is just hanging out as the Green Goblin. I love it. We get nods to Sandman, which is a shock to me, and also nods to Electro. So, and as I just previously mentioned, so as a whole, Caleb, what do you think about this poster?
Well, certainly this poster is the best of the 3 Marvel Spider-Man posters. I thought the Homecoming one was cool. Homecoming one was cool. I think it was Peter Parker as Spider-Man laying down, and then you could see the Avengers Tower behind him. And then the Far From Home poster, though, I thought it was kind of a iffy poster, to say the least. But
I don't remember that one.
I enjoy this No Way Home poster, but you are correct. We've seen some pretty cool fan art posters out there for No Way Home, because everyone has been impatiently waiting for No Way Home content, and we did finally get this poster. I don't really have any other big takeaways from it other than I actually really enjoyed it. I liked the simplicity of it, if I'm being completely honest, and I also liked that there wasn't really that many reveals in it. I think I'm the only one that's enjoying the non-reveals out of the fan base.
It's hard to not want reveals when we've been teased and we've heard leaks and rumors, and I'm not trying to jump too far ahead with our next piece, but I'm just saying we've heard so much and seen so much and speculation, this and that. I mean, from every corner of the internet. You know, it's so hard at this point to have not seen. And I even talked to some guys today, friends of mine, big Marvel nerds. I mean, they were like, I know nothing. Don't say anything. Don't bring it up. I mean, just dang near death threats. You know, it's like, don't you dare spoil this. It's like, I'm not going to spoil it for you. If you don't want to know about it, you don't want to know about it.
That's kind of how I am.
No, what, the death threat kind?
No. I'm not that serious. But I try to avoid seeing things. I only really, but it's hard to do it as somebody that makes YouTube content over this stuff. I try to avoid looking at leaks and seeing images and things of that nature unless it comes from the studio themselves, because I've always been one of those that's like, okay, if they're hiding something, it's because it's really going to pay off when we actually see the thing, and I want to be able to experience that moment. So that's really the only reason why I personally try to avoid them, but, you know, in certain instances, you just can't doing this.
Well, and you're not wrong about the fact that because we, you know, do the content thing,
right?
We are constantly I don't want to speak for you. I'm constantly on the lookout for content.
Sure.
But this is just another one of those moments where it's like, yeah, okay, we've got official content. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're happy to have it.
We did get official content.
And it's amazing because we've only really had 2 pieces of official content or confirmation of anything up to this point, and everything else has been leaked. So any preconceived notions anybody has about this movie is all because of leaks and rumors, which is wild.
It is wild.
That puts the expectations very high on the list. Okay, let's go on to our, not the next thing, but just to kind of put this question of sorts out there. We named 4 villains. Here at Geekverse Reactions, we have theorized on our own that we believe this is going to be some kind of a Sinister Six movie. Caleb, who are the other villains you think are on the table for this?
No clue, if I'm being honest. I don't know if I've really bought into the Sinister Six thing. I think you have, 100%. But I don't know if I'm on board with it, because I have voiced that I still don't think that...
okay.
We know that I have the opinion that Venom's not going to be in it.
You're still ridiculous.
So I'm committing to... I just kind of want to hear your possibilities on this.
Okay, well, I have 2 very plausible ones and 1 very off the wall one. I'll say them very quickly so we can move forward. My first one is Venom.
Sure.
At this point, the world has got to know about that mid credit scene.
Yeah, they do.
From Let There Be Carnage. So there's no way he's not in the movie. He's going to show up somehow, and then that's going to take Tom Holland into the Sonyverse.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair, but you could make the argument that end credit scene does take him into the Sonyverse.
I hate that you just poked a hole in that, but I don't care. I'm gonna keep it that we got both Toms right there, okay. Venom and Spidey, they're back, fair. and yeah, that's how it's gonna be. All right, and here's the second thing is Vulture. We know Michael Keaton's still very much alive in the MCU.
Yeah. Good call.
And he's in the Morbius movie from the trailer.
Yep.
So it makes sense that he could be there. And here's my off the wall one.
Okay.
And I've had a theory about this for a minute. When they announced What If and what they had coming through What If, and we heard about the Doctor Strange episodes, and then we watched the Doctor Strange episodes and saw it was Strange Supreme
Mm.
and Dark Doctor Strange. I want to go ahead and just throw it out there. I think Doctor Strange could be a potential other villain in this movie, and it's Stephen Strange from a different universe in the multiverse.
Right.
I don't see why not. I feel like it's very possible.
It's possible. I mean, they already have the actor there. You can easily just dress him up a different way.
Yep. And they've already had him voice Strange Supreme. He's familiar with the character, and he's one of these actors who's done his research. I mean, when he was filming Doctor Strange, he went into a comic book store and bought Doctor Strange comics dressed up as Doctor Strange. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think anything's possible as far as that goes. That's my off the wall, but somehow relevant, I guess, as far as a theory goes. So I'm going to stick with he could be a potential for a Sinister Six type movie. I know you have not bought into it.
Yeah.
I'm totally bought into it. I don't see why not.
And I think the only reason why I haven't bought into it is because for some reason I'm just in this mindset of not speculating recently. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm like shifting gears here. But as you were talking, I researched some things here, and I was trying to come up with like what the fan base was thinking as far as Sinister Six potential villains. Yeah. Obviously, we didn't mention Kraven the Hunter. That's a possibility, I guess. And then the other one that I'm seeing a lot of people mention that they would still like to see somehow again is Mysterio. So,
I mean, it makes sense. I'll just be honest. I wasn't the biggest fan of Mysterio. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. I don't know what I expected with Mysterio, and I feel like maybe my expectations were not correct. Even there's no telling what I was thinking when that movie came out. It's been so long, but regardless of that, you know, I don't want to see Mysterio. I think it's just because I'm ready for the nostalgia train.
Fair.
And I mean, we know it's Alfred Molina. We know it's Willem Dafoe. It just kind of bring it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, as far as Spider-Man goes, that is official. We're now going to jump into spoilery leaks.
Sure.
Now, for the sake of our listeners, we want you to know that we have chosen not to share specifically not where, but what these leaks are.
Right.
All we want to tell you is that there are some behind the scenes photos that have leaked online from the John Campea show.
John Campea.
With Campea. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
You're good. I pronounced it wrong for the longest time when I was first introduced to it.
But it is Campea?
Campea, yeah.
Campea. So the John Campea show, major No Way Home spoilers, okay? It's not that hard to find. There's a good chance if you're listening or watching this, you've probably already seen these.
Yeah, either accidentally or by choice.
I saw them accidentally and by choice.
There you go.
You know, sometimes it just shows up and you're like, what's that? Click. And next thing I know, I was like,
right.
So I walked into work today and I went to my cousin because I do work with my cousin. And I was like, hey, he's a huge Spider-Man fan. I said, have you seen the leaks? And he goes, nope. And I was like, do you want to? He goes, nope. I said, okay.
There you go.
And so he was like, I was like, okay, I won't say anything, but I was like, they're big.
Yeah.
But they're not what you think they are.
Oof.
I'm going to say they're not what you think they are. So again, for the sake of those who want to remain as spoiler free as possible, we will not divulge those things. But if you decide, you know what, screw the waiting, I'm going to go try to find it. It takes 3 seconds. You'll find it like that.
Yeah.
No issues there at all. So, but Caleb, you've seen these images. Okay. You're probably wishing you hadn't.
I'm personally wishing that I haven't, but it's all good.
My bad.
Again,
that's on me.
As content creators, though, I probably needed to see it because this needs to be addressed as far as out there with the community of our Geekverse Reactions listeners. I did this today. First of all, John Campea show, he goes live every single day to discuss film news, a lot of different things, and if I'm being completely honest, he's one of the guys that inspired me to get into doing this kind of thing. So, major respect to him, but today on his show, he addressed what happened, and I made it a point because I knew that we were going to be talking about this. I made it a point to go and listen to what happened with these images. And again, I'm not going to, like DJ said, we're not going to mention what is in these images, but some big things that I took away from him talking was he got some pretty big phone calls from some pretty big individuals from a certain studio with an S on the end. That's word for word what he said. And that in this phone call, they couldn't confirm 100% that these images were real, but pretty much those images are real, is kind of how he explained it. So, again, to avoid those of you out there that don't want to know, I'm not going to share details, but then he also said there were more images that he got that would have been even bigger, and he's glad that he didn't post them. And he also was talking about how the only reason why he posted them is because he gets emails on the daily of fake leaks, and he just assumed that these were fake, so he posted them out there for fun, and then that's when he got a phone call and realized, these might be real, and then he deleted them. So a lot of it is really interesting listening to him talk about the process of how all of this unfolded and how it has massively blown up. And I know, obviously I don't know the guy. I mean, I just watch his YouTube content whenever I get the chance. He seems like he's kind of upset in a way that he did it, because he tries his best to kind of be like ethical as far as covering things. But I'll let those of you out there to go check that out if you are so interested in checking out his explanation. It was really interesting to listen to, and my eyes widened when he said, we can't confirm that they're 100% real, but they might be real. So, yeah, it's out there. It's out there.
I don't listen to John Campea, and I feel like now I need to, but I might go listen to that one show and just kind of see. But
I'll send you the link, and I might need to just put the link in the description for those of you that are interested. I can do that if needed.
Everything you just said, I had no knowledge of. So if you're watching, you saw me looking off the screen, trying to like, oh my gosh. Like if somebody important reached out to this guy to say, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, my heart sank for the guy. I can only imagine. And you even told me I think he tried to backtrack it on Twitter. It was like, oh, these are some great Photoshop, right? Is that something that happened?
He ended up deleting them. And what was weird was he had his watermark on it. And that led a lot of people to believe that like he created it or something. But he went into detail about why he put the watermark there. And he said the reason why he put it there is because the first time that he shared leaks that weren't real, it blew up. And so this time he wanted to put his watermark on there so people knew, hey, go check out the John Campea show.
Well, he freaking got checked out. I'll tell you that much. You know,
it worked.
That was, wow, that's incredible. Well, it just shows to go you putting your watermark on stuff is a good call.
Sure.
No matter what it is. Oh,
yeah,
man, I don't even know how to process that.
Yeah. I don't either. I'm kind of at a loss for words. I literally watched that 10 minutes before going live.
Dude, man. Well, okay, so what's the company with an S on the end?
Marvel Studios. It's got to be.
Yeah, Marvel Studios. I'm sitting here like Marvel Comics, Sony, like none of those Marvel Comics, but it's not a comic book. It's a movie. Marvel Studios. Duh. All right. Well, guys, ladies, whoever the heck's listening out there, you guys tell us what you think about anything you heard us talk about so far. Do I make weird, shocked faces? Does Caleb grab my attention? The answer is yes. Do I grab Caleb's attention? The answer is clearly no. So let's. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Putting false accusations out there on the mics.
Rebels come Texan.
Rebels come.
All right. All right. Well, that is our Spider-Man news. That is also our Black Panther news. Now let's get into some Disney Plus news. It's not big stuff because later this week we have some really cool stuff. We know we're going to get to talk about some things that have been rumored, some things that have been confirmed here and there. One of those rumors I've heard is a new Spider-Man trailer. So
interesting.
We'll see how that goes on Disney Plus Day this coming Friday. But as far as Disney Plus news for today is concerned, very small thing, maybe to some. To me, I think it's a really cool deal because of the potential it has gone down the line. This is our final news piece. Disney has announced they will be taking the Marvel all of the Marvel movies that are on Disney Plus and fitting them into an IMAX aspect ratio for optimal at-home viewing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this via a tweet to a link to their YouTube channel on I think Disney Plus's YouTube channel, and I watched that and I was floored by it. I was kind of shocked at how new and fresh some of these older movies, like the original Iron Man, how it looked with this IMAX aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing really spoilery about this. It's just plain and simple, good news.
Yeah.
I need to update my TV, I think, now to kind of really properly enjoy. I've got an
Sure.
older TV. So, Caleb, are you excited by this new aspect ratio we're getting?
I mean, I absolutely love this. I also am kind of concerned with it, though, because this is yet again another addition to streaming at home that could end movie theaters if they really wanted to end movie theaters. I don't think we're going in that direction, but I mean, it's certainly in that step if they wanted to. But I think it's clear at this point that studios realize they need movie theaters as far as making money goes. But anyway, yes, getting this IMAX ratio is great. It excites me. I love it. I know right now it's just Marvel films, I believe, that are on this list. But
right now it is.
But getting getting Star Wars in that format would be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool to watch those films or shows in their best possible formats possible every single time.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll be that guy. I will go back and watch like The Jungle Book if they put it in IMAX. I mean, there are a million fantastic Disney animated movies that would look incredible in IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the original Lion King with like, you know how beautiful that would look? You know, I'd pay money to see that in an IMAX theater. Have you been to IMAX movies before? Have you been to any of those?
2.
Been to 2. I've only been to 1. So
I think 2.
having experience.
I don't know.
Well, I got to see Raiders of the Lost Ark on IMAX. That's cool. That was $30 well spent that day. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as this goes, I think it's a win. You know, I think it's cool for older movies. I think it's fantastic. Caleb, I think you kind of are the same opinion. And I think we also kind of expect this to happen with other Disney owned franchises.
Certainly.
like Star Wars, Pixar, you know, those top build things at the top of the Disney Plus menu when you open it up.
Yeah. And I'm like you too. I'm going to have to, I don't even think my TV is compatible with said format. So it might be redundant for me right now, but it's a cool option for those of you that have it.
Yeah. I still need to get, what are those lights that you can plug into your TV that like,
oh,
you know
the respond with them?
Yeah.
Those would be cool.
I need to get me one of those.
You imagine watching Star Wars with those things going?
I've seen the clip of Anakin versus Obi-Wan with the lava. You know, from someone's TV like that, and I'm just like, I will never leave the couch if I ever get my hands on one of those things. Okay, well, that's all of our news pieces for today. You got a little knowledge about me and Caleb needing new TVs. You got all kinds of fun, random. And that's the thing I like about Geekverse. We're very laid back. We kind of jump all over the place, and I think it's a fun time. So anyway, that's our news pieces for today. Yeah. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Caleb. He's going to take us into our discussion for this Tuesday.
Yeah, we finally both have had the opportunity to see Marvel's Eternals. So if the episode did not give it away, if the episode title did not give it away, we are going to get into Eternals spoilers. So spoiler beware. If you have not seen the film, click away, come back once you have seen it. We would greatly appreciate it. But let's go ahead and do this thing. I had the opportunity to go see Eternals on Friday night. And Saturday, I posted a initial non-spoiler reaction, so go check out that video on YouTube if you'd like to see my fresh out of theater at midnight. I think you can probably tell in that video I'm a little tired because it's at midnight when I finally got back from that viewing. But those initial reactions that I had all still kind of hold true in my opinion. I'll just give my initial thoughts, and then I'll pass it to DJ to hear his initial thoughts before we dive deeper into the spoilers. I admit this is not the best Marvel movie, not even close, but I did have fun with it still. I do think Spider-Man No Way Home is going to end up being better, so I think that Eternals being my most anticipated MCU film of the year. I don't think it quite reached that expectation now that I've thought about it for a few days, but I still enjoyed it. So I still recommend anybody, if you're a Marvel fan, to go and experience this. And everybody that's saying it's nothing like a Marvel film that you've seen before, they're right. It's really different compared to other MCU films, but it also still feels like the MCU in my opinion too. So it does a good job of balancing that out a little bit. DJ, what are your initial just basic kind of thoughts on Eternals before we actually start discussing spoilers?
Well, as far as just a takeaway goes, I messaged you as the credits popped up. I got my phone out and hit Caleb and I was like, okay, as of right now, I could have gone my entire life without ever watching this movie. Now, having said that, I did not dislike this movie.
Okay.
I thought it was a very good movie. I mean, I think the critic ratings were dead wrong. First of all, that's my number one thing. And that's kind of where we were last week talking about going in, because we did our discussion was on Eternals last week before the movie had released, before we'd seen it, and just kind of our expectations. And, even you hit me up and you're like, I don't know if I'm really sure about this. And going in and after seeing some of the audience reviews, I was like, these critics got it wrong. Clearly. I mean, last I checked, it was 40 something critics and 80 something audiences.
Yeah.
And that's on just Rotten Tomatoes. Who knows about all the other rating websites? So you kind of boil that down and you say, okay, generally speaking, this was a good movie. So I think it affirms my theory that I dropped out there last year that Hollywood was coming after Chloe Zhao.
Yeah.
I really do. And we're going to talk about this on Thursday. I just want to drop it now. Earlier today, it dropped that she is working with Kevin Feige on his upcoming Star Wars project. So what we're seeing here is you're seeing an individual, and it does. And by the way, I don't think it matters that she's a woman. I think people would rake a man over the coals too, by the way. We're seeing somebody who was an acclaimed director. She is, who won the Academy Award, now being ostracized for taking on something that people like Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg have called not art, not cinema. And that is, of course, Marvel and also Star Wars. So my initial takes are this movie is good, and we are not giving credit to Chloe Zhao. I think in the Hollywood spectrum, the way I say Hollywood's not giving her credit for doing what she has done with this film, because this is a beautiful film.
It really is.
I mean,
I would make the argument that it's one of the
visuals.
most beautiful Marvel films to date.
I think it 100% is. This is clearly a cinematic movie. I'm so glad I watched this in the theater, because I don't think I could appreciate this the same way at home. And I'm now wishing I could see Dune in the theater. And after, because it's kind of funny, you watch a movie that is intrinsically relying on its cinema and its filmmaking and its cinematography, and that being Dune, and then also now having watched Eternals, it's kind of a similar feeling in a way. And so, I really kind of wish I could go back and watch Dune in the theater before. Maybe I need to try soon. I don't know. We'll see. But all that aside, my initial takes on Eternals is really, I think I was right about Chloe Zhao, and movie was good. I don't really think I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But it was good. It was a good movie.
Okay.
It was a good movie.
Well, let's dive deeper into this good movie. I've got some spoiler takeaways, spoiler discussion thoughts that I had typed out literally the next morning. As my reaction video was going out there, I was typing away my spoiler thoughts because I was so ready to just go spoiler mode with this thing. So let's go ahead, dive deep into it, and we'll just let the conversation flow off of these takeaways that I have typed out here. The runtime. The runtime was admittedly long and very slow at times, if I'm being completely honest. But for me, and this is just my take, and I'm wondering or curious, DJ, if you feel the same way, I thought it was necessary, though. I mean, we got the character rundown of all of the different characters, and I can kind of run through here and give, obviously, the big things that I took away with each character. Athena Angelina Jolie struggles with occasionally remembering her own memories that cause her to become violent. I thought that was a really cool little side story there. Gilgamesh really cares for Athena, and I found myself really invested in their little relationship that they had. So that was a really important moment that we continue to get to see. Ajak, honestly, I felt like they could have done a little bit more with her. She was the leader of the group initially. I didn't really feel that, though, personally. I felt like Icarus was clearly the leader of the group, though, even though he wasn't necessarily titled as the leader. But still, it was cool knowing that she was the only person that really knew the true purpose of them being on Earth. And also, we learned that she heals, so that was really cool. I've already talked about Icarus. He loves Cersei and is the strongest of the group, or that's what they try to portray, that he's the strongest of the group. And, you know, he's basically the Superman of this film. Those are his abilities. Cersei, by far, Cersei was the main character, in my opinion. I think going into this, we talked about how they had so many different characters. We didn't know who was going to be the main one. Cersei, by far, is that main character. I love that she was a teacher. You know, that connects to, you know, how I am. I'm a teacher. I try to influence the youth. And she was also in a relationship with Dane Whitman. Kingo, comedic relief, 100%. This is Kumail Nanjiani's, I believe I said his last name correctly, or maybe not. That's his character, and really, I just put shooting was his skill. I mean, I guess he got like laser balls, and they went to his fingers.
I called them pew pew fingers.
Pew pew fingers. I like it.
Because every time he did this, he pew pew. Pew. I mean, that's what happened. So it was really hard not to call him that.
Yeah. Next character, Druig. I still don't know how to say his name. Controls a small village. That was a side plot that we got. Kind of interesting.
That was weird.
I was really intrigued by that character.
Looked like Jim Jones, man.
Yeah. Sprite struggles with never aging. She's the one that transforms and disappears. Makari was by far the least amount of time spent on this character. She was the speedster. I felt like we could have spent more time with her. And then Fastos. Again, I felt like he was the comedic relief aspect, but he was the technology advancer, technology guru. That's a character rundown. And again, because of all of those different things, those different side stories, this runtime got really long and felt really slow at some times. DJ, what did you think of that runtime?
I think that if they really wanted us to latch on to these characters in a major way, it may have been more beneficial for this movie to have become a TV series. I said this last week
too. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I said that last week on the show, but to me, it just makes sense, you know, because you've got 10 characters here, not to mention the, what are those beasts they fight? I can't remember. The starts with the D. The
deviants.
The deviants. You have the deviants they're trying to fight. I could have spent, personally, I would have preferred 20 minutes on the deviants. And I sit there and think about all these different characters and how, you know, they're all so important to the story, because you really cannot tell this story without every single one of them. Right. Maybe except for Dane Whitman for now, but we can talk about that in a little bit.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I know you want to talk about him, but I still think that these character breakdowns, you hit it spot on for sure. I was very much involved in Gilgamesh and Athena's relationship, and I kept thinking that was going to become romantic. And after really thinking about it, I look at it more as a brother-sister relationship.
100%. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I have a younger sister who's 2 years younger than me. So for a minute, I was so latched on to Gilgamesh, to the point that when, you know, again, this is spoiler breakdown, when he dies, I was mad.
Yeah.
I was upset that he had died. I was like, gosh, he was the only guy in that group I thought could even remotely take on Icarus. And the second he was gone, I was like, what are we going to do?
Yeah. And props to Chloe Zhao and Eternals and whoever, everybody involved with making those decisions. Seeing the heroes die isn't something we're used to in Marvel, especially in the first film. That was a pretty cool decision, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I was like you. I was like, what the heck? I was loving
Yeah.
Gilgamesh.
Oh yeah, and I like the name Gilgamesh.
Absolutely.
I love the story. I love the story of Gilgamesh.
Mhm.
I mean, what's not to love about a giant flood? You know, I mean, and this guy's got just a flood of power, and I think that's incredible. You know what? And I'm surprised he didn't have something to do with water based on his name, but that I didn't care about. Once I saw him down in Australia and he's taking care of Athena, I just thought this is a beautiful character.
Yeah.
And you don't say that a lot about masculine characters. You know, I think it was a beautiful character. I could talk a long time about Gilgamesh. He's actually the character I've thought the most about since, and I saw the movie yesterday. Okay. So having seen it last night, I was in a theater, 24 hours ago watching this thing.
There you go.
And after having watched it, I still think I could talk about him a long time, but, I think I agree with you. We should have spent more time on Ajax. I don't think that her being the leader of the group really came off very well. Nope. Although I do see where they were trying to push Icarus to that point as the other Eternals goes, because they kept referring to him as boss.
Yeah. I mean, everyone viewed him as the leader. I mean, you could just kind of tell. I mean, I mean, they knew Ajax was the leader, but they looked to Icarus for, okay, what should we do? Like you said, boss. What should we do, boss?
And I think that there's an important lesson in that. These movies, Star Wars is this way, Marvel is often this way. These movies should sometimes contain life lessons. I think the life lesson to look at with Icarus is don't always look to the person who's the most powerful to be your leader, because they may be very corrupt. And as we saw as the movie progressed, I kept wondering, okay, these deviants, I kept telling myself, there's no way these are the main villains.
Yeah.
Because they spent almost no time on them. And I took myself out of the world, which I don't normally do. And I was being very critical of this movie. And I don't know why, I just was. But I took myself out of this movie and took off the blinders and really was looking at this. And I was like, there's one. I even thought at one point, it's like, one of these people is the villain. Somebody's the villain here. And at one point I thought maybe it's Ajax, because she's not really in the movie a whole lot. Maybe she'll come back, of course, when we find out she's dead. I was like, well, who the heck killed her? I mean, there was moments of like me thinking that, and as the story went on, I was actually pleased with how they did that. Yeah. I think I
just thought of
as
something.
Far as this, go ahead.
You're kind of flowing here, and we're kind of getting ahead of something of Icarus and kind of talking about him and that reveal, which is fine. But, you were mentioning, like, who really is the true villain of this film. That is something that I was struggling with initially, like you. The Deviants, I didn't think that there was enough story there for us to care about them really being the villain. And I guess that does, in a sense, kind of get me to my next point here, is these things, or this thing, this celestial Arishem. This celestial Arishem is really kind of behind the scenes puppeteering all of this. And as you were kind of talking there about really who is the true villain in this film, for me, it's Arishem. And I kind of think of, I do it every week almost, Star Wars.
You have to.
It's like Palpatine pulling the strings on Vader. It's almost in a sense at the conclusion of this film, Arishem pulls the strings on Icarus, because Icarus wouldn't have done any of the things that he ended up doing if it hadn't been all the things that Arishem had told Ajax, and then Ajax informed Icarus of those things that he needed to do. And also at the very end, you could tell that Icarus realized that he messed up, I think, almost kind of like Vader in a sense, and decided, you know what, I just need to remove myself from this situation. I failed I failed my mission, and I don't know. Now that we're kind of talking about that, I'm actually enjoying that aspect of the story a little bit more.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I actually I'm on the opposite end. I appreciate the story in that sense. I don't like that Icarus is just gone.
Okay.
And I don't even want to say he's gone, because if he's supposed to be like Superman, which really quick timeout, we got 2 DC references in this movie.
We did. Yes, we did.
Which now, I'm sorry, it has to be said, Batman and Superman exist as stories within the MCU.
Yeah.
Which then you got to wonder, how the heck does Michael Keaton factor into this? Now that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as this right now is concerned with Icarus, I don't like that he decides, let's just go ahead and make this legend that Sprite made up true.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go ahead and fly into the sun. And I'm like, guys, just, you got one of the coolest characters we have out here. Kill him off. And he's a great actor, which, by the way, I don't remember that actor's name.
Richard Madden.
Richard Madden and Henry Cavill need to be in a movie together.
Doesn't
matter what it is. Doesn't have to be a superhero movie. They look exactly the same. They should be brothers.
I've seen people think that Richard Madden was playing. Why am I blanking on his name? The Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah,
I've seen people get
Sebastian
them confused.
Stan.
Yes, Sebastian Stan.
He's like a low budget Sebastian Stan, is what I heard at one point. Which there's nothing low budget about that dude.
No.
He's incredible. You know, I feel like we just kind of keep coming back to these characters, which is fine. I mean, I think we could do, honestly, if we really wanted to, we could do a whole episode on each one of these characters.
I think so too.
But I'll say this before we kind of move forward, because there's other things I think we both want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised at what they did with Sprite. I never really saw a moment where I thought she was super in love, if you will, with Icarus.
Yeah.
Until she just flat out was says it. And I'm like, okay, makes sense. And then especially when Kingo says what he says about Peter Pan and Wendy and Tinkerbell, which
that was
I thought was actually hilarious because I flat out said last week or recently, man, Sprite looks like, or I didn't even know Sprite was like, man, we got Peter Pan over here. And I remember thinking she looks like Peter Pan. And then for them to drop in that
keep going,
reference, I thought it was so funny. Well, anyway, as far as her defecting and running off with Icarus, by that point, it makes sense. Her motivation makes sense, which I actually had a great conversation with someone today about Sprite and how they're going to use her character going forward. You know, they give her the ability to age, to actually be human, and to continue to go through life the way she's always wanted, and to actually be grown up, essentially. I like that because it doesn't constrain them to having a child actor in a role. She still exists within that world, so they can bring that character back and have that actor still play that character. And Sprite can, maybe potentially get her powers back somehow. And, they all got abducted. So, I mean,
right.
It's possible.
And that's another thing too. Like Icarus, obviously at the end, he flies into the sun. But at the end of the day, I mean, if Marvel really wanted to, I'm sure they could find a loophole of the Celestial of Arishem recreating Icarus, and therefore we could see Richard Madden as that character again in
Makes sense.
the MCU. I mean, it's certainly possible. But I guess on the flip side, I just liked that decision, and maybe that's just because I appreciated Eternals being different from the basic formula of the MCU, of all the heroes, of the main character surviving and being ready for a new story.
Right.
For some reason, I just liked that. And I don't really know how else to analyze that or say that. I just kind of liked that decision. I don't know. I just kind of felt the emotions in that moment of him kind of, he flies to the ground and he apologizes, and you can tell that he's very upset about it. But then it was kind of, in a flip side, it is kind of abrupt to just see him take off then and just Superman straight into the sun.
Well, I look at a lot of things from leadership perspectives. If they all look to him as a leader for thousands of years, and he admits his wrong and then just says, all right, well, now I have to go die.
Yeah.
What kind of a leader is that? That's
fair.
That's a bogus leader. So for me, that's why I don't really like that ending, because I'm thinking, dude, you've apologized, you've made amends, you've seen that there's not a need for this Celestial to be born. Why abandon that? You can have a redemption arc without dying.
Sure.
you know, and that's a thing that I think movies get wrong a lot of the time. People can be redeemed from whatever without them saying, well, now that I'm redeemed, I can't right my wrongs. No, you just trudge on. I don't know. Maybe that's just my worldview coming out.
No, I can see that. I can see that.
But I just looked at that and I was like, well, you're a trash leader. I would never follow you. Like,
sure.
And even the whole time I was like, I would 100% not follow this guy. Like the whole time I was like, no, this guy's too full of himself. And I'm that kind of person anyway. I don't want to follow the guy who's like, no, I'm the leader. Like, I don't want to follow that person. So for me, I just was like, nah, I'm good.
What's that Dune quote?
Dune?
Yeah. Good leaders don't seek to lead, but what is it, man? It's a great quote.
I don't remember it.
They're called to it.
Yes.
Good leaders are called to it. It's not forced. It just happens.
Yeah. And that's why Cersei ends up being such an incredible character as our leader that Ajax chose. And I like that Ajax could see that Icarus, something within Icarus, he was not ready to be any kind of a leader. And so by the time we get to that moment where that thing comes out of her chest and then goes into Cersei, that ball looking thing, it reminded me a lot of a Seeker from Harry Potter.
Yes, the snitch, isn't that what it's called?
The snitch. That's or some. I don't know. I've only seen each one time. I don't know. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, now would be the time to chime in and tell us what the heck what that is called, because someone out there's listening. It's like, you idiot, it's this.
Yeah, you idiot.
You're calling me the idiot, not you.
No. I'm calling us the idiots.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know if it's the snitch or not, really.
Hey, whatever it is, it's out there. It's a thing. Regardless, that's what it reminded me of. And I think that as far as the characters go, I've said it a lot. It's great. So why don't we move on to your boy Kit Harington?
Oh, my boy Kit Harington.
Because there's a lot really with this little screen time he had. Ended up being kind of a big character.
Well, first of all, the first big thing that I want to say, and I know I've got family members that are interested in listening to Eternals because they love Game of Thrones. They're listening to us spoiler review Eternals because they want to go see it because they love Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I can't tell you how much that small little scene at the beginning when they come face to face, when Richard Madden and Kit Harington come face to face, because they're Starks. They're Stark brothers, essentially, in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much that meant to me. It was so cool to see them. And again, like you said, very brief moment.
Right.
They come face to face. That was enough for me. I got my Game of Thrones nerdiness out. I nudged Maddie as soon as it was going on. I was like, look. It was great. It was awesome. But great. Kit Harington in Eternals, yes, he is barely in it. At the very end, Cersei gets abducted, essentially, by the Celestial. Yeah. And he's just kind of left there on Earth. And we end on his face. That is the final shot of Eternals. I think in that moment, before we even got to the credits, I thought in that moment this is very clear that this is the next step up for really Dane Whitman's character to proceed on. Not necessarily, I mean, obviously they can go with Eternal some more, but in a sense, and I kind of had a feeling that he wouldn't be in this movie long. I think I talked about it leading up to it, that he had barely been in any of the marketing. He wasn't in any of the posters, and rightfully so, because, I mean, he probably was in the film for a total of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But when he was in it, I was very intrigued. I don't know if that was just my Game of Thrones part of me.
I would say that.
DJ, since you haven't seen Game of Thrones, what did you think of Kit Harington being in the MCU?
I will say that I knew that both him and the actor who played Icarus, I know these guys' names. I don't know their names.
Sure.
But I know that they were both in Game of Thrones together. Mm-hmm. And just this last week, I saw an image, someone was hyping up Eternals on Twitter or something. And they're like, can't believe we get these guys back. And I was like, oh, they're like family. Like, I realized all of a sudden, I was like, oh, they're actually, and I didn't know that because I've not seen Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there, I was like, oh, they actually know each other. So when they actually met on screen, I was like, look at that. was like, even I was kind of like, and so I'm looking at Kit Harington thinking, you have to act like you've never met this guy before. That's got to be pretty weird, knowing that you've done 8 seasons of a TV show. Well, I assume 8 seasons. I have no idea, because I know at one point someone died.
Can't say.
Look,
assume everyone dies in Game of Thrones.
I don't care. I don't care one way or the other. I know Jon Snow dies and comes back.
Okay.
I know that, the internet, even I got touched by that one. Okay. Me not watching anything, didn't have HBO, didn't even know hardly what Game of Thrones was. Just dragons and a blonde chick is what I knew. That was my extent. And winter's coming. And so all that to say, I thought it was cool when they met. In this movie. I thought, that's neat. That's really cool. And I'm sure the Game of Thrones fans are going nuts. But beyond that, Kit Harington's character was interesting. And we didn't get a whole lot until the very end. The 11th hour, is when it really spiced up. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat. I was okay with that.
Absolutely. And I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I believe it was one of the episodes when we reported that Chloe Zhao had revealed that there were 2 end-credit scenes. Me and you kind of predicted what those end-credit scenes would be.
I got it right.
I said that the first one was going to be something to propel the Eternal story. That's basically what we got, and we'll talk about that in a minute. In my opinion, that was kind of cringy. But the second end-credit scene is Kit Harington's Dane Whitman as the Black Knight tease that we got, that I was so hopeful that we would get, and we got it, and it was amazing. And I had no clue who this voice was in this end credit scene that says, are you sure you want to do this? I researched it, and Chloe Zhao has confirmed that is Blade.
I knew it immediately.
I didn't. I did not. I had no clue.
I heard it and was like, oh, that's Blade. Like, here's the thing. You throw a black sword out there and stuff starts moving on it. And I'm thinking, okay, it's creepy. It's talking to him. Sounds like a haunted house. Okay. What do haunted houses have? Vampires. Oh, Blade.
That's cool.
It was a quick connection for me. I literally put my seat, at AMC, the seat raises up.
Right.
Put the seat down, and I looked at Hillary, my wife, and I was like, Blade, and then got up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wait, my wife's pregnant. I need to help her get up. And
Maddie's,
and in that moment, was that?
Sorry, I was gonna say Maddie's first prediction was Nick Fury.
No, it was too. Sam Jackson is too noticeable. And
that's what I said too.
Of a voice.
That's what I said.
No,
but then as she said that, I was like, Google search, who is that at the end of the credits?
Yeah, I was like,
it is Blade.
I knew immediately.
You have a great ear and you have great observation skills there.
But
I did not catch up on that.
What's so funny is that I've never even seen a Blade movie.
Yeah, there's one that came out in the 90s, I think.
I don't know. I just know that, what is his name? Dadgum. This is not a good show for us as far as remembering actors' names.
No.
I don't remember his name.
Well, it came out in 1982, so sorry. I typed in Blade, and it popped up as Blade Runner. Rightfully so, though, because that's an amazing film.
I've still never seen Blade Runner.
1998. You've never seen Blade Runner?
I've started it once, and then I never finished it. I had to go do something.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes.
1998
played Blade.
Yeah, I knew it was like some W name.
Yeah.
Anyway, he once said, and recently he goes, nobody will play Blade except for me. He's like Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. He's like, nope, that's me. You can't, or even Charlie Cox with Daredevil. He's like, no. If they cast anybody else, they'll have to fight me for it. Kind of, they're like, these are my characters. And
right.
He's that guy with Blade, but as far as the connection to Kit Harington's Dane Whitman, I have no idea how that connects. I know nothing about that.
Oh, I don't either. I have zero clue.
Well, that's fine. And I'll be honest with you. I don't really, they're going to need to pull me in. Eternals had a hard time pulling me in.
Uh-huh.
Be honest. I was like, I don't even even up until yesterday buying the ticket, I was like, I don't even know if I really want to see this movie.
Yeah.
And
it's like I said, like the marketing, I didn't feel like it really raised the stakes as it went. Mm-hmm. It just kind of seemed even kill. And honestly, after watching the film, it's kind of even kill. So they didn't really have anything else to give us.
Yep. Well, they know all their money is going to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes down to there.
True. That is true. But overall, I was pleased with Kit Harington.
And you were
him
right
being
about
in it.
something.
Yeah, finally right about something in the
Yeah.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
But that's
And
only the beginning, because Venom's not going to be in No Way Home.
Whatever. You keep talking, you naysayer. I'm telling you.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. This is like,
there.
your jokes on me about me being a Game of Thrones fan or whatever.
Yep.
I'm going to keep bringing it up as much as I possibly can.
I hope, there's a part of me that's like, I kind of hope Venom's not in that movie now, because I'll never live it down. It'd be
Dude,
great.
if Venom's not in No Way Home, I'm freaking out. On air. Woo! Called it. You heard it here first.
And then I'll just look like a dweeb.
Nah, it's all good.
It'll be good times. It'll be good times.
But it was really cool that last end credit scene. Again, this is the Game of Thrones glasses going on. Kit Harington with a sword again is going to be pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing really else to say about that.
Wow.
It makes me excited. It's also exciting just in general to have swords in the MCU. I mean, I know you're a sword guy, so let's go.
Anything with a sword, I'm like, oh, there's a sword? Like the movie The Last Duel, it had one sword fight at the end, and there was a small battle a couple of times too here and there, but for the most part, one sword fight. And I saw a duel and I was like, I'm in, don't care. Yeah. There's gonna be swords. Let's watch it. Like, I'm all for it. I'll watch any movie with a sword. That's just me. But I'm with you. The sword, it looked cool. Nice. I want to see the whole thing. I want to see that. That is the most intriguing thing to me, as far as it connects to Kit Harington and also Blade. I'm like, let me see the sword. If I can see that sword, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's just me being an uber nerd, I think, at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the ending here. It does seem that Marvel has committed to focusing on the Eternals moving forward. I mean, at the very end, quote unquote, it said the Eternals will return. They do that. They've done that in the past with numerous MCU films, and they always stick to it. So it seems like we're going to get them. Because here at the end, like I said earlier, we got the disappearance or the abduction, whatever you want to call it, of Cersei, Kingo, and Phastos at the end. Thena, how do you say his name again? Druig. And
Druig, yes.
Makari are on their own.
It's Makari, yeah.
On their own to find others and inform them of really what's going on, and that they really, they don't make their own decisions, yada, 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 all those different things. And this is where it got weird for me. The first end credit scene. Harry Styles shows up. And immediately, I was taken out of it. I wasn't a fan of that necessarily, if I'm being completely honest. And it has nothing to do with his music, I don't think. I mean, I'm not a Harry Styles fan personally.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just weird. And then the little thing that was with him.
That freaking gnome.
Did not look good.
Gosh. Okay, let me just say something about that. I'm about to roast that thing. I don't know who's in charge of that. What the heck they were thinking. They made a CG character that looked exactly like Seth Green, voiced by Patton Oswalt. That's what that thing looked like. It looked like the freaking Fighting Irish logo from Notre Dame. Just that right to this, If you're on, I'm sorry, I know that we try to not to do this, but if you're listening on podcast, I look exactly like that logo right now. It's so dumb. And I thought, this is stupid. I hate everything about this. It's a drunk little goblin. Send him back to Santa Claus.
He literally looked like he was pulled from Polar Express. That was the animation.
Was stupid.
That was the animation on that thing.
It was horrible.
Now,
horrendous, horrible.
Those of you that don't know, Harry Styles is portraying the character Star Fox. I know nothing about a character called Star Fox.
There's only one Star Fox, and he's a fox who flies spaceships on the Nintendo 64. I'm sticking with that.
Very nice.
I'm sticking with that.
I have no clue who that is either.
Star Fox, man, from like Super Smash Bros. No recollection. Classic video game right there. Listen, here I'm with you.
Oh, snap.
When you said Harry Styles, that took you out of the film. It took me out of the film. What'd you find?
I just Google searched Star Fox, and it pops up and says he's also known as Eros. grew up on Titan alongside his brother, Thanos.
That little gnome creature introduced him as the brother of Thanos.
Did he?
Yeah,
completely missed it. See, I was too busy thinking about, why is Harry Styles in the MCU that I didn't even notice that.
And that's why you missed it. That's an important note to make. I'm going to tell you right now why Harry Styles is in this movie, or for that brief second. They have polled or done market research. They realize there are not enough young girls going to see Marvel movies. So what do? They cast Harry Styles. And I know this to be a fact because, again, Parker, who's, again, Discord member, by the way, we have not said this, join our Discord.
Yeah,
follow us on socials. We're pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Come join the party over on the internet further than this. Okay. But Parker told me today, he's like, took my sister and our younger cousin, and we all went and watched it. And as soon as Harry Styles popped on the screen, did the thing, and he was like, they're not even freaking out because it's a
Star
new
Fox
character
or whatever.
It's straight up, it's because it's Harry Styles. And I'm like, that's what Marvel's doing. Bad call. Bad call.
I guess
I'm gonna stick with it. I think it's stupid.
In my opinion, it's a bad call, yes. But on the flip side, we'll still be showing up, as well as now those new individuals that are Harry Styles fans will be showing up. So in a sense,
I don't even want to go see the movie now because I know those fans will be there. It's gonna be on like
choosing violence. Here we go.
Well, let me connect to my light and I'll turn it red real quick. I 100% think it is the dumbest thing they could possibly do. I'm getting a fair enough segment going on here.
Burn up.
And we're over here in overtime. I'm ticked. I think it's dumb. Some fangirl, some fangirl or fanboy, not pointing fingers, just saying, think it's stupid. And I will listen. I've been known for my blunt takes around here. Sure. It is dumb. It's dumb.
I will say this though, as far as the Star Fox spinoff or movie or whatever they're wanting to do, or Eternals 2 with that group working with him, he's got his red going on. I think it's setting it up to have a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. The Eternals 2 or spinoff for Star Fox or whatever.
That mid-credit scene going into the credits with that music feels like the first time. It was a setup for something Guardians related, which is fine. I still think Harry Styles in this is a bad call. Yeah. I can see him next. I think why I think it's a bad call is because I can't see him in these characters in that story of Eternals. I can see him next to Chris Pratt and Rocket. Right. And even Chris Hemsworth, but anything else, go away.
That's a good call too, because it feels like everyone in the Eternals, well, not everyone, but in the Eternals cast, they are all Oscar like talent levels. Harry Styles isn't known for his acting.
Some guy who was in one Christopher Nolan movie for like 30 seconds 4 years ago, looking at Dunkirk.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, Dunkirk. Whatever. And then there was the One Direction movie, but who cares?
There you go. Well, listen, those are kind of my big spoiler takeaways that I had listed there. Other than I do want to mention one more thing, and that is something that we have definitely heavily alluded to, and that's the critic scores. At the end of the day, critic scores are irrelevant. They mean nothing to us as far as audience members. So currently, and Rotten Tomatoes admittedly is what I use the most, even though maybe it's not an accurate representation of how good a film is. But currently, as I screen grabbed this image this morning, as far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, Eternals is sitting at a 47% with the critic rating, which I do not believe it is near that bad. Audience score, 80%. And I think that is more accurate. And again, just a reminder, Rotten Tomatoes, that does not mean that's the score of the film. That means that for the critics, 47% of the critics enjoyed it. For the audience, 80% of the audience members enjoyed it. So it's a percentage of who has gone on there to review this thing. It is not like oh, this movie is an 8 out of 10. It's not like
Right.
that. It's
Right.
just a percentage of, did you like it? Did you not like it?
Yeah.
But still, the 47% I don't think is accurate, to say the least, and I think DJ nailed that earlier in our discussion. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
DJ, do you have anything else you want to say as far as that critic score goes?
Yeah, I think it's accurate. You know, I still stick to they're trying to roast Chloe Zhao.
Mhm.
They're trying to throw her under the bus, you know, and that's dirty. It's a dirty move, but that's Hollywood, and that's how it goes. I would say I tried to think, okay, what did I think about it? Percentage wise, 80. I think it's a solid 80
There you
out
go.
of 100. You
So
know,
you're
that's
right there with the audience then.
I really am. And not just because I'm looking at it on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I just really think it was a solid B plus.
Yeah.
You know, or just a solid B.
Yeah,
That's
I think
what that is.
solid B. Solid B.
But I did also scroll down. Did you check to see how much it's made in the
box office? I have not.
$71.3 million.
Okay.
And that's just US.
That was
not
opening
bad.
weekend, I'm assuming.
It doesn't say. It just says box office gross USA.
Okay.
So
it's probably including yesterday. So the weekend plus
Yeah.
Monday.
yeah, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. I mean, it's still not Venom Let There Be Carnage. It seems like Venom Let There Be
what was
Carnage
that
it was
one?
90.
90. Okay. I think that's fair though. You know, given nobody knows who these characters are.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest draw is like Angelina Jolie and Selma Hayek and Kit Harington, you know, that maybe those Harry Styles fans who heard about it, but
Was
gonna
that
be
the big
draw.
spoiler that Variety or somebody revealed after press screenings that
Yeah.
Harry Styles was in it?
It's either that or Blade.
May,
But the Harry
okay.
Styles thing is what I saw. I didn't see Blade
I didn't see
connections
either of them.
until after I finished the movie.
I feel like
No, I knew about the Harry Styles
I
thing.
feel like I wouldn't have been so upset about the Harry Styles thing if I had known about it.
I knew about it, and I'm still upset about it. So I'm going to stand by it. I think it's dumb.
Fair enough.
I mean, hope I can change it back. Hang on.
Going
re-
red. Going dark.
Rewind real quick. I still think it's dumb.
There you go. Hey, that's fair. And I'm kind of with you. I put it in the notes. Don't like this. That's what I said, point blank, as far as Harry Styles being in it. So
Can confirm.
those are our spoiler thoughts on Marvel's Eternals. What did you think? Those of you listening, if you're on YouTube, comment in the comments below what you thought of Marvel's Eternals. If you are listening on our podcast platforms, hit the Discord link and come and tell us in there. First of all, we would be thrilled to have you in Discord. And second of all, we would love to hear your opinion. That's what it's all about. But that is our show for this week on Geekverse Reactions. I am so thankful for those of you that continue to listen to this. And we've had a lot of fun covering things outside of the Star Wars realm. But just for you to know, if you're one of our listeners that really stumbled upon us with Geekverse Reactions and you've been enjoying this content and you love it, I do want you to know, though, that we are eventually, once Book of Boba Fett comes out, we're going to fade Geekverse Reactions out for a minute, but it will come back. And something that I've kind of been thinking on as far as Geekverse Reactions goes is we'll definitely continue to do, like, out-of-theater reactions and maybe special spoiler discussions between us two. But once Star Wars gets super busy and super heavy, which 2022 is going to be Star Wars heavy, that's going to be our main focus. But I promise our Geekverse Reactions content is not going to go away. Like, we're going to do a Spider-Man No Way Home spoiler discussion and out-of-theater reaction, all those different things. When Doctor Strange comes out next year, we'll do the same thing. Hawkeye, which is coming up this month. Batman next year, we're definitely covering that. So even though eventually we're going to get to the point where Geekverse isn't maybe every single Tuesday, we will still have content for you guys. So if you like Geekverse, be sure to subscribe if you haven't to our YouTube channel because more stuff is coming, even if it's not on that normal Tuesday schedule. I just wanted to say that. For some reason, that's been on my mind a lot lately. I'm kind of planning the rest of the year and thinking into next year, and we've always committed that Mando Talk and Star Wars takes priority, and we just feel like Star Wars is going to get so busy here soon that that's going to be our full focus, and rightfully so, though, because it's going to be pretty special. But anyway, I appreciate everybody's support. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, regardless of what platform you are on. We are so thankful, so appreciative, and I love every single one of you guys that listen. And I'll pass it to DJ to get us out of here for this week.
It's 100% Star Wars all the time for me on Twitter at RebelsComeTexan. I do occasionally retweet the Marvel and the Batman stuff, but for the most part, I'm Star Wars 100% of the time.
Sure.
I'm wearing a Vader shirt right now.
Sure.
And,
and we're always surrounded by Star Wars stuff in our studios and our setups. So
yep. Even if I'm at home or back in my normal place here at the church, whatever, I don't care. All I'm going to say, I'm just to get us out of here.
Yep.
You will not see me with Harry Styles, but I will see you on Earth 2.